Like most Americans, my wife loves Law and Order. Well, the other day she stumbled across the latest episode and said, "Ben, you gotta check this out." And boy, was I in for a surprise. I'm Ben Davies, this is Pure Hollywood. Now, there were a few things in this particular episode that are more than just a little bit problematic. But first, you have to start off with what Law & Order starts off with at the very first frame. At the very get-go, it says, quote, "The following story is fictional and does not depict any actual person or event," unquote. Well, let's get into the story and why this stirred up so much controversy. Even before the opening frame begins, the title of this particular episode is InfoWars. You might recognize that from being a conservative, crazy news outlet. In the opening sequence, a conservative speaker is speaking on a college campus talking about statues being torn down. She is attacked and raped. Now, this fictional conservative speaker's name is Martha Cobb. She's a beautiful blonde wearing red. InfoWars currently has a public speaker and reporter working for them who is also a beautiful blonde who often wears red, who has also been attacked by Antifa members in the past. You can see how this might be a little bit problematic. People have also pointed out that she could be a mirror copy of Ann Coulter because the way her character is successful when her book tours and very popular and charismatic, as well as saying some really inflammatory things that infuriate people on the left. Now, moving on. Now this event gets complicated because at this sanctioned speaking event, they have some conservative people that bring in the right-wing speaker, and they're there cheering and looking very, very annoying with their Make America Great Again hats, chanting all this kind of crazy stuff. There's also a resistance of peaceful protesters who want a safe space on campus that also have Antifa members in Black Bloc. These people bring clubs, they attack the event, beat up everybody. It's a really nasty thing. Stop me if you've heard that story before. Anyway, they track down the Antifa member, and he is almost a mirror image of Eric Clanton. And you might remember Eric Clanton as the bike lock assassin from the Berkeley riots. This former student professor of ethics attacked a peaceful protester over the head with a bike lock, and he is currently going to court right now for these assault charges. He literally looks almost exactly like him. Anyway, at the coffee shop that of course he works at, he ends up spewing a whole bunch of dribble about how there's all these white supremacists trying to create genocide in the country. We gotta fight fascists and bring down the established order. He will literally give you every single talking point you'll ever hear on YouTube of every left-wing Antifa speaker that talks against these people. He ends up laughing off the fact that this poor woman was assaulted and raped, and then they take him in for questioning. However, did he do it? We don't know, because now there's a new person on the block. A video is released of a right-wing extremist who started a known terrorist organization called Patriots for the American Way. He holds up a gun, says some awful misogynistic, racist stuff on this video, and so they start tracking him down. I gotta keep in mind, every single character is unbearable on screen. Like, they're all awful to listen to, but particularly the right-wing people. Like, I would like to fight any of these people. They bring him into the cops, and he's very confrontational, rude, and misogynist, and awful, and racist. And then he keeps talking about how his slogan is he's gotta make America great again, like clearly making that comparison to the Republican Party and Trump and everything going on right now. Now, it's important to note through all of this, the police are supposed to be neutral. They're supposed to be the voices of reason right in the middle. And from the very get-go, they completely disagree with everything the right-wing people are saying. Oh my gosh, they're trying to take out the Dreamers, they don't want immigration, they want to shut down Planned Parenthood, all these kind of things, and they're clearly leaning left. That's totally fine, but you can see like where they're trying to skew this. Anyway, this whole thing finally goes to court, and now it's up to you to decide like where is the truth. So the Antifa member openly talks about, yes, maybe I did run up there, and yes, I did assault her actually, but I didn't rape her. So this guy's clearly a criminal, but did he do it? Well, they bring the racist kid on stage, and he says some of the most awful stuff you've ever seen on TV, even pointing out all the black people and women in the audience saying like, you should get out, you should get out, you should get out, and even calls out this Jewish gay guy in the back and is like, yeah, you can get out too. Anyway, these lawyers and police officers that have dealt with terrible people in the past, rapists, murderers, killers, all kinds of stuff. It turns out this guy is just so polarizing and so racist that they have to throw out the entire case. There's no way they can get a fair trial because this guy's beliefs and views are just too nasty to have any justice in court. And the victim of the entire story, who is the woman who was raped, but she's, a conservative talking pundit, never gets justice, never finds out who her rapist is, and the whole thing is lost in the air, and you never really care about the victim anyway because the way they portrayed her. The first problem is what they chose that was actual and the stuff that was made up and fictionalized. So the victims in the title are based on some real things, as well as the different people on the left. These are all real actual events you can see on YouTube, all this kind of stuff. Every single talking point that you see on the left, I've heard people like this at the different Antifa rallies say the exact same things about bringing down the fascists and stopping the genocide of these white people trying to destroy every minority and all this kind of stuff. And the right, like I said, you have the victims. They even say real people like Rudy Giuliani. They use real slogans like Make America Great Again, which everyone on the Republican side, half the country, has been a part of. And that is what's problematic. This goalpost of this is bad and this is bad, you should never be on one of these extremes, let's find some common ground in the middle, is skewed because the side on the left, this is clearly happens. This is a known terrorist organization that the US State Department recognizes. And on the right, you have a made-up right-wing terrorist organization that is not actually recognized or anything like it. In fact, the terrible pundit guy that they choose is just a caricature of everything that you've heard people on CNN fighting against. We're attacking these people who are openly racist, misogynist, and want to destroy all these immigrants and kick everyone out of the country and blah, 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 blah. Like literally a perfect just cartoon character of what the left claims to be fighting against and saving us from the United States. Except this guy doesn't exist. You can listen to any of those far right-wing speakers that I do hate, and none of them are as bad as this guy. Meanwhile, on the left, there is literally Eric Clanton, the bike lock guy, and the real organization that is recognized and still artificially creating this horrible villain on this side. They still skew left, even though this is reality. All the cops that are supposed to be centrist skew left. The other thing that's the most problematic to me, where in the open court case where we as the audience is brought in to decide, okay, which side are we on, who did it? You have the far left people openly admit that he assaulted this girl. I used physical force, I hurt her, all this kind of stuff, but did I rape her? Oh, I don't know, it might not be that bad. On the right, he just says and believes a bunch of awful things. And the court case is thrown out because it's neutral, they can't decide. Which is exactly where the left is bringing us, that words equal violence. These are somehow equivalent. No, they're not. We live in a society where you can wave your arms around as much as you want and scream whatever you want, but as soon as you hit me, you are going to be destroyed. There is a massive difference between believing and thinking things that may be terrible and actually doing horrible and terrible acts towards other people. And this is seen so much so in this episode that the poor woman they completely villainize, who was the victim, who was brutally raped with a sign, never finds justice, and you never even feel bad for her. That is the danger of this episode, and that's why there's so much controversy. I just hope people can make a clear distinction between the fiction and the real world events that this Law and Order case depicts. If not even Ice-T can save us then. I'm Ben Davies, this is Pure Hollywood. And don't forget, now the Rebel app is now available. You can download it directly to your phone to get instant access to the entire Rebel lineup.